good getting internet. I'm gonna rant a little bit about, I believe the phrase is for hashtag first world problems. Hello, Zunkini. So, I live in Madison, Wisconsin. It's the capital city of Wisconsin, and it's a very tech-oriented city, college town. Lots of reason why somebody might, want to have good internet access. One small problem, our internet access, not so great, depending on exactly where you live. So, where I live right here, I have the choice of two different fixed landline ISPs. My ISP, which is Spectrum, it's the local cable company, used to be known as Charter, and AT&T. AT&T, for those of you that live outside the U.S., because everyone in the U.S. would recognize that name, is the local phone company. AT&T offers DSL to this place, and Spectrum offers cable internet here. Cable internet is substantially superior here than DSL, to put it mildly. To give you an idea of pricing, I am currently paying $110 a month for their mid-tier plan, which is 400 megabit down. These are theoretical speeds. 400 megabit down, 30 megabit up. They offer one tier lower, which is 200 megabit down and 20 megabit up. That I think right now would be $80 US a month. And one tier higher, which is 960 megabit down, 35 megabit up, for a lot more. I don't remember exactly how much more, but a lot more. I think it was like 160 or 170 or something like that. AT&T would offer me, and these are prices, these are not introductory prices, these are prices for, your second, third, fourth, fifth year, etc. AT&T would offer for about $80 a month, 100 megabit down and 10 megabit up. Now, these speeds aren't horrible, but the prices for the speeds are pretty... Oh, I should mention, AT&T has bandwidth caps on top of it, so that's only 1 terabyte of bandwidth. Last month I used 3. Oh, 1 terabyte was the maximum AT&T offers. I think their standard is 100 gigabit or gigabytes of bandwidth. Anyway, bandwidth caps. They're still in the US and keep getting reintroduced because capitalist hell. So, the reason why this is bothersome is a few things. One, I don't care about the downstream, I care about the upstream, and my best upstream available is not that much, given the year 2020, in a major, maybe not major city, but in a capital city of a major tech hub of the region of the United States. And two, which I should have fiber to the home at this point, but two, I live 1 kilometer away from the neighborhoods with fiber to the home. In fact, those neighborhoods surround my house in almost every direction. So, there's another ISP in the region known as TDS. They are the former phone company for a lot of this area, and they made an agreement with AT&T to carve up this area, and my neighborhood ended up in AT&T land instead of TDS land. When I first moved here, I had the option of both TDS and AT&T, but they were both DSL here, so it wouldn't have made a difference. So yeah, all of TDS in the Madison area at this point has fiber. If I was 1 kilometer, that one would be north. Yeah, 1 kilometer north. I would have 1 gig down, 1 gig up for $45 US a month. So a little over a third of what I'm currently paying for roughly 30 times the upstream. Or 33 and a third times the upstream. 1 kilometer to the west of me is AT&T's fiber. AT&T has decided that they're only going to string up apartment complexes, and if your house happens to be in between major apartment complexes, they'll do it. Otherwise, they're not going to bother. That would be a similar price. I think theirs is $65 US a month for gigabit synchronous fiber. And you have to pay a little bit extra to not have bandwidth cap, but you can. Unlike all of their other tiers where you can't. You have to pay per gigabyte above your bandwidth cap. Now, officially, according to the United States government, I have more than just one choice of an ISP. Or more than just two companies that I can have an ISP for. I also have wireless ISPs. They are talking about cell phone companies for reference, and as sad as it is for me to say, that would actually be a faster option for me for upstream. Verizon in this area can sustain up to 40 to 50 megabit up on their LTE. Of course, if I wanted to use as much bandwidth as I actually use, I would be paying some several thousands of dollars a month. And their downstream's not exactly great, and it's not reliable, and depends on how many people are using it, and it's a really, really, really crappy deal with latency and... So for a point of comparison, my partner lives in the middle of nowhere in Norway. Like, population 2-digit. They will be receiving fiber before I will. Because there's no interest in putting fiber into this neighborhood. My neighborhood is a bunch of either single-family or 2 to 3 family homes. There's a few apartment complexes, but very few overall. Even though the fiber to the 1 kilometer to the west of me runs through my neighborhood. If there wasn't a house in the way, I could take a rock and throw it and hit where the fiber is. It's not far away. There's also a right-of-way that goes through my backyard specifically for this reason. They're just not going to do it. Because it's not economically viable for them. Because they make more of a profit offering crappy DSL than they ever will with fiber, and they will never have competition for it. Because the cable ISP has no intention of replacing things with fiber, because coax works perfectly fine for them, and they're the market leader. Why would they want to bother upgrading? Yeah. So I use a very large amount of upstream between these video uploads, my backups, because I back up off-site, and, random things that I host from my house, and all sorts of various different things, and I'm basically squeezing it through a coffee stirrer. Because, well, I'm also sharing my bandwidth with multiple people. My partner, when they're here, uses up bandwidth. We had some concerns earlier today about, do I have enough bandwidth for me to work from home at the same time that my partner is streaming? The answer is yes, but the fact that I had to consider it, that's ridiculous. And also, I have a housemate, and he uses bandwidth. And I'm not saying that he's using an excessive amount of bandwidth or anything. I'm definitely the bandwidth hog of the house. But I shouldn't have to think about this. This is year 2020. The United States has paid these companies to run fiber to people's homes. They just pocketed the money and ignored it. And yeah. So if I ever move, my number one requirement is that I have to have fiber, good fiber, to where I am staying. This is ridiculous. I should not have to deal with this. Yeah, in the context of the fact that there's a freaking pandemic going on and the president of the country that I lives in thinks that we should be injecting bleach into our veins, yes, this is minor, but that doesn't mean it's not important. I'm still lucky. I live in a relatively major city. I have those two options. A lot of places in the United States don't even have that. Not to mention, I could afford those stupid high ISP prices. I mean, seriously. Spending $110 a month on cable internet. I have friends that live outside the United States that pay less than a quarter of that for gigabit. Why? Wait, I know why. Because the United States is obsessed with the idea of capitalism without actually knowing what the hell it means. For those of you that may not understand, you cannot have a capitalist system if you have a duopoly. That inherently means that you don't have a free market. This is not a free market. ISPs cannot have a free market because there is a capacity limit on things. There's an artificial limit as to who can actually put wires into telephone poles or underground pipes or anything like that. The cities and governments do not allow for a whole bunch of different ISPs to lay down their own wire, and even if they did, it wouldn't be economically viable anyway. And you would end up with just a situation where high-density units, like apartment complexes, get all the internet bandwidth. Like what I just said. So, what happens in normal places is that the government goes, oh, this can't actually work. This is going to be a regulated market instead. Let's make sure that the ISPs have some regulatory requirements, actually have teeth in those regulatory requirements, and make sure that internet access is given to everyone. Internet access is effectively a right at this point, especially given the pandemic. Holy crap. I mean, education requires internet access at this point. This should be as basic as electricity and water and natural gas if you happen to live in an area with that. I think I've done a rant on this before. My partner was saying that they think that they may have watched one of these videos like that, but I felt like I was going to update it. Not to mention, it's late at night, and I couldn't think of anything else to vlog about. He just likes sitting on my lap. Not complaining. Bye, Internet. I'll see you tomorrow.